Hi, today we are creating this podcast and this discussion for World Environment Day, and we thought we'll utilize the occasion to share some of our thoughts. And it's going to be kind of unlike the usual World Environment Day messages of why walking is good for the environment, climate, emissions, everything. And we're going to touch on other aspects. And Vedant, what are we going to be discussing today?
We are going to be discussing something that nobody wants to hear and nobody really likes and nobody wants to stand it for more than a minute. You see some of those reels. जिसके start में you have to have a hook. कि नहीं नहीं stop
Right.
stop don't scroll. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
going to be that kind of a conversation. You're basically
Mhm.
going to talk about funds. It's like funding and how Working Project has been operating for the past how many 2 years, and how the situation has been, and what all can be improved, and what are the shortcomings that we are seeing so far. The idea
Right.
is we talk about this from a World Environment Day as a sustainability issue, but for Walking Project, because I and you, both of us, believe that Walking Project is a kind of an endeavor that needs to sustain to have a long term effect. Like all of us want, na, कि Mumbai's emissions in the global context are arrested, and we are not completely going towards a very private vehicle oriented space. And the walking, which already makes up the vast majority of our modal share in the city, needs to be arrested and kept at the existing level or even improved, while making the lives of all of the people, the quality of life, much better. So yeah, that's what we are going to talk about.
So, just to give a context to people who will be hearing us, that uh, almost exactly 2 years back, May 2023 to be exact, we were able to revive Walking Project after it had gone into a limbo for almost 4 to 5 years. It had gone into a limbo because I was the only one kind of doing the day-to-day activity planning, executing, etc. And there was absolutely zero funds. And then with Vedant coming in, for almost exactly 1st of May 2023. We've seen a fabulous kind of a rerun and nothing like we've seen even in the first phase between 2012 and 17. And 2 years back, again, we didn't have any funds. And we thankfully, I mean, we had funds. Four of my friends, in a sense, committed big chunks of money, and we were able to get the first 1 lakh rupees. But it's very clear that what we are doing, Vedanta, is not exactly, we are not exactly, I mean, like on social media, you hear so much of commentary, constant complaint, constant noise about BMC. And we see ourselves at Walking Project clearly as a conventional advocacy group, which works in a methodical, structured way with government authorities to bring about the transformation that all of us desire to see. And this kind of an activity cannot be done like sitting on your mobile phone in the bus and casually tweeting some angst or on the weekend doing something. This is requires Monday to Friday methodical engagement, lot of research, lot of reaching out to people, and cannot be done without full-time people in the team and who need to be paid and all the other paraphernalia which comes with a properly organized effort, which is office and all the other kind of budgets. And while 2 years back it was understandable that people would not respond, and it's the usual thing that what is it that you're going to do? We need to see results before we commit money, etc. But what we are seeing in the past 1 year is what this conversation really is about. It has been kind of unacceptable that the show of support from the community is so poor that we are seeing. So I think you can take us through the numbers in the last financial year. Please, yeah, if you can share that, that'd be good.
I can't really actually share because both of my screens are recording and they have to. It would be nice if you share the stats on our collections over the past financial year and how things have been, and what
Yeah.
is the kind of a breakup.
Okay, sure. So when we are saying financial year, let's be clear, we are saying that between 1st of April 2024 and 31st of March 2025, which is this year, we've received donations total of 11 lakh 29,000 something more. So 11 lakh 30,000 roughly. And out of this, we've had 65 one-time individual donors during these 12 months. We have 10 people who are considered right now subscribing. So we have a subscription model. We have a very nice payment gateway on our website, which allows people to do a monthly subscription at a fixed date. A certain amount is debited from their account. We have had one institutional supporter for 6 months from, uh, 4 months of that previous financial year. We have had one CSR donation in March this year. So these are the four categories through which we've received 11 lakh 29,000. From the 65 one-time donors, we have one very large donor who has given us 2 lakh rupees. And we have 5 large donors who are giving us more than 25,000 per year. The rest all are below 10,000. And when within subscription, we have one or two large subscribers. And this is how we are kind of crawling. So that is our finances. And we'll put it up in a chart as well and a pie chart. So we can see that.
Also, I think let's kind of do a basic rundown. Now, I think we don't have the figures right away, but how did we spend this money? So the viewers have kind of an idea. Ki, okay, 11 lakhs sounds like a lot of money. It
No,
is
11
kind
lakhs is, yeah, honestly, it's not a lot of money. And that's see, we've been telling all our donors. Now, the interesting thing about our donors is that there are some people who are subscribing to, especially amongst the subscribers, who are so happy with our work and who see our posts on social media and our frequent reporting, however infrequent that might be. And they're convinced that we are authentic and we are genuinely working for the cause, and they hardly ask any questions. But for transparency's sake, of course, 80 to 90% of that money is right now going in, so to say, salaries, whatever small fees you and me are paying ourselves. And we've had a third colleague on contract for a short time. Both of us are, in a sense, winging it. And we are there in the hope of sustaining this long enough to see the program have a proper budget which can sustain 4 to 5 full-time team members, and we are able to pay salaries, etc. So the breakup is basically 80 to 90% is on salaries. Then we have equipments, we have subscriptions,
a lot
transport,
of
travel,
printouts.
printouts take a huge component, all our badges and everything, and all the great material that we produce. So that's how the funding is, but completely unsustainable. I think by now the whole expectation was that in a city of almost 1.5 crore people, would have at least 1,000 donors, if not more. And I think that's the whole purpose of this video, to make people aware that we are under a lot of strain. If on World Environment Day, I think it's important that we also understand not just the problems faced by the environment, but also the problem faced by environmental groups like ours. Unless we don't strengthen our environmental groups, how are we ever going to address any of our environmental problems?
This is kind of a nice pivot, I feel, because I would really like to draw a comparison of what work Walking Project actually does. Because I mean, we are a non-profit, and there is a very certain box that non-profits are usually fit in by the people and the audience. Ki you're either feeding kids, you're either like putting out blankets, or vaccination ho raha hai, or something like that. Advocacy is something which is it's not seen in India. It is quite rare, as in a way. I consider Walking Project something closer to like a Wikipedia or a transportation alternatives from New York, in the kind of work that both of these organizations do. Now, Wikipedia itself has a product which is the encyclopedia, which everybody can check online. So tagline is that. But that is a visible product that you see. And now with Walking Project, I think It would be nice that we go around on our what is the product that Walking Project has to offer to the city and to the people. So we are clear about it.
I think you should expand on what are the activities we've done maybe over the past 2 years, but especially in the past 1 year, and also the level of effort which it takes to sustain these activities, whether it is anything offline, online, or
So I think the flagship thing that most people already know is the community walks that we host. It's an activity which has we have touched over 300 people through that. I think more than 350 probably. If we consider an average of 8 to 9 people per walk, getting to change the kind of idea of what makes their street unwalkable and what is it about the environment which is making them very uncomfortable where they walk on, and what are the civic challenges, what are the guidelines that are present in the Indian Roads Congress or the BMC, so that they are better informed citizens when they go out to vote, when they go out to a ward office, when they even complain about online. I'm very happy whenever I see people they're complaining about this utility boxes in the middle of the footpath. Is a IRC violation. During the community walk, we give out badges, we give out the handbook, so that there is something that they have which they are taking with them. So the information is available to them, even say 7 8 months after they have forgotten. Acha, I had been to this walk. So that is one of the things that we do. In addition to that, we have constant. I mean, not constant to be honest, because we have not been able to do that. But we make a lot of visits to the BMC. We make lots of visits to MMRDA. We have also been able to make inroads at SEEPS, Santa Cruz Electronic Export Zone. I think that is where we can actually also talk about. Oh my God, it's a cloud burst outside. It's a massive cloud burst. But yeah, I think this is a nice point to actually talk about how we have not been able to do as much in that domain, meeting with the government agencies. Ideally, we would want like at least once a week we are visiting each of these, like MMRDA ho, CEEPS ho, DMC ho, PWD ho, and other civic bodies in the entire MMR region. We have 12 civic agencies.
well, so the point I want to highlight is that we are working in is extremely important. Everybody wants to see a pleasant, cheerful public realm, high quality walking infrastructure, whether it is footpaths or junctions or zebra crossings or signal timers. Having said that, the process is extremely difficult. It's hugely challenging, and it is inversely proportional to the amount of effort. The outcome is inversely proportional to the amount of effort you will put in. So the more amount of effort you put in, the timeline gets shortened. The less amount of effort you put in, the timeline gets longer. And the governance challenges in our institutions are not trivial at all. They're significant. And the work I think we've been doing at Walking Project is unparalleled. And that is what hurts a bit more. And I mean, if I look at the landscape over the past 2 years, and I remember that when we started off and those initial posts, social media posts, all of them curated, all of them produced by you, so that there was overwhelming kind of a positivity and joy in the whole online community. People came together. In May of 2023, I think the first week we had just 140 followers on Twitter or X. Now we have more than 4,000. I mean, the consistency with which social media posts have been going out, and not just the consistency, the quality is, I think, unparalleled. Nowhere in the Indian urbanism landscape are you seeing this high quality of content, which is, uh, in a sense, almost capacity building of people and institutions. Besides
I
that,
think,
the offline work, which is not so visible, which is engaging the
yeah,
government authorities, and we are not even scratching the surface. Right now, we are not able to do justice within Mumbai. We are not able to go toward Thane Municipal Corporation, Amira Bhayandar, Virar, Vasai, Panvel, wherever, Kalyan, Dombivli. Forget being able to go to other cities. When Walking Project started in 2012, the hope was that we will start from Mumbai and then go to the top 10 metros and then expand further. But we are sitting in a 2025 and at the outside, 80 supporters in a city of 1.5 crore people. and that hurts. And that is also the it should this should not be seen as our responsibility alone. After putting in such high quality work, I think the community needs to come forward and say that, okay, guys, we will take care of supporting. The least which people can do in our city, which is so busy, is contribute funds. And I think we're clearly seeing that past 6 months we've spent more time being worried about when we will end up having to stop completely. It is only because of Mr. Bajoria stepping in and a few others, or even the ASAR support which we received for 6 months. Otherwise, I think sometime last year itself we would have had to kind of pause, draw the curtain.
It's also like, I mean, the viewers have probably noticed that the frequency of posts on online have gone down. Or we used to do something called Friday Night Live. We did two or three of those and then we stopped immediately. A lot of these things are stopping or reducing in activity are directly related to the resource constraints that we face. Because every time I'm waking up in the morning, I have 15 things to do, and I it's like a whack-a-mole. I have to choose one of those things to prioritize on this day. आज अगर I'm thinking of doing like a Friday Night Live, I have to prepare for it at least 1 or 2 hours prior to that, setting up everything, and then live streaming takes a lot of toll. I have grown respect for live streamers from my side has grown like tremendously. I don't know how people do that for 8 9 hours consistently, because you have to constantly sit a certain way and you have to focus on all of these things. OBS ये वो manage करना, and it is tiring. Like I have a headache each time I stop the live stream recording. Same goes with like our YouTube video posts. The walk videos that I used to shoot. Like there was a time when I used to shoot them and record them and come back and edit them as well. Now I have three footages from Pune and five footages from Bangalore already, which I have, but I've not had time to sit and edit those. So there is a rule of thumb I have. If you are editing like a 7 minute footage, it takes you around 3 to 4 hours, depending on the complexity of how much editing you're doing, how much subtitling you're doing. So that gets constrained because I am a human and I can do only so much. That is the reason I think you will see the amount of content going on YouTube also kind of reduces and gets hamstrung. One social media post, I sit down, it takes about an hour to actually think about something which would strike a chord with the people. Now, I don't have any professional background in media or social media or any of those things. It takes a lot of time. Reels, I mean, you will have seen some funny reels that came out during a small period on our Instagram reel, which is me flexing my kind of humor and all. But again, that stopped because each reel, I see some kind of a format. I send it to the Walking Project handle from my own personal handle, and then the idea is that I'll download a meme template, download karke, then I'll put in some twist on walkability or urban design. But again, that is another creative work. I've seen people get paid more for doing just that, just editing that. And I mean, those are the things that you see. Like,
No, no, absolutely. I mean, the number of hats you're wearing, if you were to get paid for each hat, then I guess, and why not? I mean, that's see, the other big point which I want to come up, say, for the World Environment Day theme is that we need to create green jobs, right? I mean,
yeah,
on a monthly basis, I keep interacting with younger people, and there are so many hundreds and thousands of people who have fed up of their corporate jobs or consulting jobs. And occasionally keep getting in touch with me that at Mumbai Sustainability Center, do you have an opening? I think you guys are doing a great job. And
yeah,
I can't remotely also as an organization, we can compete with the salaries that they are already getting. And honestly, this is the point again and again. In fact, we should carry this has been on my table that, I don't know what is visible,
Ranveer Singh.
but yeah, work on Dawn 3
Okay,
will start in September. Ranveer Singh and Vikrant Massey to start shooting Farhan Akhtar's Dawn 3 in September. So I'm saying
okay,
this is a point which I keep continuously making, right? Whether it is junk food or junk entertainment, There's enormous amount of crowdsourcing, crowdfunding happening. And while not to demean other people's creative efforts and activities, but at the same time, uh, we do know that all of this is having an enormous toll on us emotionally, mentally, and it is severely curtailing our ability to create. I don't know, maybe we'll be able to do 10x or 100x of the impact. I mean, we've had these discussions. We need a budget of at least 1 crore per annum. And if you have to just keep floating, the kind of situation we are in is absolutely dangerous. We need absolute minimum of 25 lakhs per annum, which is absolutely nothing, right? I mean, I mean, so many are when our social media posts are getting liked, they're getting shared, they're getting retweeted. We expect that the same people would also have a consideration for the effort which is going into all of this. And the least that we are expecting people is that become subscribers, become one-time donors, because there's no other business model at all. I mean, we've had these conversations about productivizing and creating those kind of competitions or something, and the level of effort required for that itself is so huge.
Let's kind of put up a hypothetical situation. Ki, okay, walking project, we want to hire like 5 people. We want to have a 5 people ka team, which is not enough considering the scale of efforts. Let's imagine ki 5 people ka team we have to hire.
Argument's
What
sake,
would be
right
the
now,
kind
five
of
people.
hmm, what would be the kind of monthly cost that go behind running an operation like that? And what would be the roles that what all the roles would these 5 people be kind of taking up?
I mean, imagine even with freshers, you would pay minimum of 30,000 rupees a month, minimum. That is to freshers. And you don't want to pay exploitative wages. Right? I mean, we keep
Yeah,
hearing of how architecture firms are paying 10,000 and 12,000 and 15,000 just because they think that people are getting an experience and there is some prestige and status. But we can't do that.
we shouldn't. I
Besides, I
mean,
think I would
as a human,
was that
I said we shouldn't.
we shouldn't. Not that
Yeah,
not that we can pull it off, but I'm saying ki look at the quantum of work which is getting affected. We've been pursuing we created an excellent manifesto in October last year. Just the non-motorized transport cell following it up would require enormous amount of follow-up with elected representatives with the corporation. We've been pursuing the thought and idea of ward committees for almost since inception, but more so in the past 3 to 4 months after the conclave. We have 26 wards, administrative wards, and each of them are so big that in Europe they would count as a separate city. Some of them would count as a separate city on their own. We're looking at 2,000 kilometers of roads. We are looking at top 20 arterial roads. We're looking at constant data gathering, taking photographs, documenting it, taking videos. The level of effort is insane. I mean, it's huge. We need 10 people full time. We need a proper office. We can't be running around for things like printouts and getting badges printed, right? I mean,
yeah.
anytime an event
Print out
comes,
at
all of us
least.
are running around to get the collateral material ready. That shouldn't be a job. That should be for office assistants. And I'm just kind of honestly putting this forward that if the community and the city is not willing to come forward, then whom are we doing it for? That is the whole big question which even our friends and family members are asking, right? That why are you sacrificing so much of your valuable time in a city? I mean, if I go to a lawyer today or a doctor today, are they entertaining me just because I'm serving for the city that they'll free of cost give me a service? No. Everybody's continuously charging for their time on a half hourly, 1 hourly basis. And here we are expecting, some kind of show of goodwill. So I think the amount of work which is getting sacrificed, which we're not able to do, which means that it's a double whammy, that we are wasting our time. We could have been productively doing something else and maybe making a lot of money, and that's kind of a thing. And secondly, within that amount of time that we are putting in, we're not able to give ourselves to the extent we should, or we can, or we would love to. And all of it is directly tied to the poor funding, to the lack of resources right now.
Okay, so I'll do the devil's advocate part over here. I mean, usually when we ask for something like a funding, And I mean, at the expense of sounding entitled, we put up figures ki 25 lakh hona chahiye, 1 crore hona chahiye, whatever. Uh, so, I mean, I think it is Maslow's hierarchy where you have that pyramid of needs, expenses, and all advocacy
Hierarchy of needs.
organizations. Yeah, hierarchy of needs. Do you think is there a valid explanation for the lack of support that the community gives towards walking project? Because we are like a poor community. I mean, I can't even keep myself straight because I people must have seen that article from 2 weeks ago that this high rise at Worli going for what 2.8 lakh rupees per square feet, 600 crores for a 22,000 square feet duplex. I think this is the latest one. I remember the previous time when we were talking about all of this funding. I think that was exactly a year ago. Another flat in Worli, 17 crores interior. 17 crores ka interior, not the flat, not the cost of the flat. And I mean, we keep seeing all of these things. Mumbai is, I think, also the city with the most billionaires in Asia, if I'm not wrong. Uh, Ultra high net worth individuals as well in the city. Insane amount of wealth in the city, and trying to tap into maybe like 0.0001% of that. I think even that is a exaggeration of what we are actually demanding from the city.
No,
The
you're
kind of
absolutely
wealth
right.
we have.
And I think it's important also to inform people who hopefully might be watching till, I don't know, we are at 10, 15 minutes into the conversation. People have short attention spans. But important to point out that right from the beginning, I mean, when I started out 2012, when you joined, we've had these discussions. We want a much wider base of supporters. Instead of one person, one wealthy person whom you highlighted right now coming up, giving us 1 crore per we would much rather have 1,000 or 10,000 people giving up proportionately that much because that shows that community values this kind of a thing. Honestly, from a political heft point of view, it is important that we have a wider base, at least 10,000 people in the city. And wealth is not just at that level, right? We have thousands and thousands of corporate employees. We know some of them are subscribers, right?
Yeah.
They're working, they're not billionaires, they're not even possibly millionaires, but they're earning very, very good salaries and they feel a sense of commitment that if something good is happening, they, they've enrolled as monthly subscribers. So the idea is that we need a much broader base, far higher number of people participating. And that is honestly the right way of doing it rather than few people. And of course, we're not eligible so strongly for a CSR anyways, because that's something which people keep bringing up that why don't you apply to come? I don't think that's the right way for an advocacy group at all. Advocacy group should be supported by communities by the largest number of people.
The CSR also kind of hamstrings you in. I mean, what company wants to associate with an advocacy group which is kind of supposed to be a watchdog towards a civic body or something of that sort?
We are continuously coming in the media, the papers, our social media is so active, really followed. One would expect that from that ecosystem itself, just 1,000 people come forward and regular citizens of the city. And I think if we have to, uh, there's been an enormous degradation in Mumbai over the past decade. And if we have to halt that degradation, a sense of collective coming together of citizens, that is extremely important.
I mean, right now, if I had the manpower, I would have one guy at the BMC simply about the guardrails issue. There are guardrails going up across the city in a manner which is not supported by the IRC. IRC clearly recommends very specific things ki guardrail kahan pe hona chahiye, what should be the length, what should be the height, what should be the kind of design. These guardrails are making walking actually unsafe because they are keeping people on the streets. They can't walk on the footpath because there is no opening for the footpath, and the placement of them are in such a terrible manner.
I mean, we've been discussing this for months. We are not able to go out and adequately document on the streets, take videos, take photos for specific cases where the guardrails are actually destroying the public realm completely. I mean, you need to collect so much of evidence, put it, structure it properly, give it to the municipal corporation, to the elected representatives. This is a huge amount of work, and not that we are the most productive during the day. But I think the reason we are not the most productive during the day also is because our morale is overall kind of. And we also realize that if we start something, we will immediately need human resource, which we don't have, which means everything will end up crumbling on us. And so we hesitate to take up new things.
It's also that phenomenon of jack of all trades is a master of none, because we are doing five things, and then we can't focus on one thing and hammer it properly.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
if tomorrow we stop our community activities completely, or we stop our visible activities completely, whatever funding is coming in, even that would dry up. So then we have
Yeah.
to prioritize on that, and then the BMC visits take a dip. Then TSS survey वाला ढूंढो, बीच में वो आ
Yeah, yeah,
जाता
yeah.
है.
I mean, I
Then
think between us, we know the laundry list of things which are lying incomplete and only at
yeah,
the discussion stage, and so it's kind of
and
embarrassing.
coming back to the guardrail issue, like we have seen, the problem is so deep. People right from the junior engineers who have passed out with their engineering degree, senior engineers, administrative level bureaucrats, even higher up top bureaucrats in the administration really don't see a problem with why guardrails are problematic. And over, I think we have probably talked to 6 or 7 BMC officials by now about the guardrails, and probably converted 2 of them to think, okay, guardrails might be an issue. And I mean, this is what this needs. They need to hear this as a guardrails as an issue from us multiple times a day for it to percolate through their system of bureaucracy. That is when actual change in the work order will take place, the BOQ, etc.
And look at the tragedy, Vedant, that in the past 2 years itself, while we've been observing, talking about this, I mean, it's tragic to see that during the same time, kilometers of footpaths have been plastered with those guardrails. And this is something which the community also needs to take notice of, right? That the
Yeah,
more you strengthen your advocacy groups, the more they're in a powerful position to stop wrongdoing happening. We know in the past 2, 3 years, just the scale of wrong decisions being taken. The shoulder portion concretization, absolutely no need. 6,000 crores worth of contracts going, crores worth of road contracts going out with zero attention paid to the pedestrian infrastructure. I mean, how are we able? How will we able to even counter? I mean, there has to be a counterbalance. Right now on a
yeah,
seesaw, we are touching. We're just up in the air right now. We can't
yeah. Guardrails
create
was just
any.
one of those things. Like guardrails was just
Just
one of
one of
those
those
things.
things. Yeah.
Another is intersection design. Like none of our intersections are designed, in the suburbs at least, are designed in a safe manner for pedestrians. Not just for pedestrians, for vehicles for that matter. Most of our intersections do not have simple things like stop lines. कि कहाँ पे गाड़ी रोकना है. So it's a open like funeral for everyone. कोई भी आ सकता है कहीं पे भी. Nobody knows where to stop, and that is what makes
It's open to
walking
interpretation.
dangerous.
Everybody doing their own thing.
Yeah, and it's just not just dangerous for vehicles and pedestrians, but also inefficient in traffic point of view. How many man hours are being wasted in just people waiting for the signal, or congestion to resolve at an intersection because it is designed poorly. Road right of ways need to be designed in a much better manner. If we come to MMRDA, a lot of metro stations are coming up, a lot of MMI plans, which is the multimodal integration plan for the station area surroundings, is going up. There are some faults in the way some of the older MMI plans were implemented in line 2A and 7. That is what we are working on right now. But I mean, resource scarcity, we do not have enough manpower to actually work on the PPT, as well as draft the letter, as well as go to the MMRDA and present it properly. That inroads we have made, but it took us one full visit. Aishwarya and both of us went to some of these stations, 5 or 6 of these stations on a single day, shot each and every intersection, kind of got what the problem is at these intersections, and then to convey this to the MMRDA, sit in front of. I mean, we have gotten an offer from the MMRDA ki you make a presentation inside our office. Where we will have all of our planners in front of them. We can't go to the office with a just a set of images. We need to make a concise, proper proposal and an argument why what you are doing is kind of wrong and needs some tinkering in the way you're executing it. And all of this requires manpower. It requires a lot of smarts to craft it that way. You're not going to get a college graduate who is going to just come in and
No,
make
no,
a very
absolutely,
nice PPT.
absolutely. I mean, the scale, I mean, it's absolutely, I mean, commendable, and there is nothing to feel arrogant or self this thing about it. But the level
Aggrandizing.
of effort, there's nothing self-aggrandizing about ourselves. That level of effort, the systematic level, and how we are conceptualizing it is uncomparable. And this is, I mean, look at the non-motorized transport cell agenda, right? That is so critical to everything, the right of way, the junction design, everything that you talked. And we did that ballpark calculation. I think already 300 to 400 crores has been spent on the guardrails. And compare that if you were to set up non-motorized transport cells in 26 wards, if you were to hire two urban designers, one transport planner per ward, give good salaries, and then they take up the planning at the ward level, you would still
Yeah,
spend so much lesser money.
I
And
think people don't know the fact that BMC does not have a urban designer on payroll within the
It's
roads.
it's beyond shameful. I mean, can you imagine a city of this size anywhere in America or Europe or any part of the developed world or Tokyo, which would be so careless? It's just inconceivable anywhere in the developed world that a city the size of Mumbai should have such a poor institutional structure to look into walkability.
I mean, it would be like if you as a country want to build a space station and don't hire space station aeronautics designer की नहीं नहीं हमने देखा कि NASA has one building for keeping that thing तो एक building बना देते हैं and putting I mean you have to plan these things. There needs to be a proper design of how the road should be, कहाँ पे जाएगा, where the piping will go in, where the plumbing will go in, how to ward off the heat blast of the
Yeah, yeah.
engines of the.
I mean, so Vedant, we can. I mean, I think we should start closing the discussion. And towards the end, the whole purpose really of this World Environment Day discussion is that if you're listening to us, if you're following us on our social media, please, this is a request. Kindly become a donor or subscriber. We've been doing great work, but it seems extremely difficult at the current stage. Hopefully, after this video, things will improve drastically, and suddenly will be everything
Wishful
will be
thinking.
hunky dory. But as of now, when we are recording, things are very difficult. We are uncertain about how long we can continue, and morale is very low. And the least we expect from citizens of Mumbai, and you need not be a citizen of Mumbai, right? Anywhere across the country, if you're seeing our work and you appreciate it, you can become a small donor, 1,000 rupees per annum, 5,000 rupees per annum. There's absolutely nothing in today's day and age. But then, of course, at that level, we need much more number of people of donating. But this is a humble request that please consider this. And if you have any questions, any doubts, any queries, both of us are absolutely more than happy to answer those. We can have a joint AMA kind of a thing, or maybe one-to-one speak to us.
I would like to highlight on the things that we would want to do. Like I would like to have an editor like who can just edit the videos that I'm shooting so that that workload is taken away. I would really like the person to also manage the social media so that I'm not logging into Buffer and Meta Business Suite every time and putting up posts so that I can focus more on the creative part of crafting the post itself. I would like to have an architect who can actually do the urban design work for intersection redesign to send to the BMC. I would like one person to actually go to the BMC, try to get total station survey drawings on which improvements can be made. I would like someone who can do all the menial work of कि community walk है तो उस community walk का post बनाओ, creative बनाओ, put that post in WhatsApp, put that post across all the social media, organize the WhatsApp group and get all of the people together, make the post कि कहाँ पे meeting location है. I would also want a person to manage interns and all. Like we could have a lot more interns working for us to get uh, there could be a media intern who just does media interviews for us at railway stations कि pedestrian realm के बारे में लोगों को क्या लगता है. There are a bunch of things that can be done. There are already probably 16 things on my Google Keep list that need to be done in the next 2 weeks. We didn't even mention that we have engaged with lots of colleges and students of architecture colleges and students, where we need to be making
And
presentations and
and
all.
look at how all of them benefit so much, right? The kind of
Yeah,
value we end up creating. I mean, Indian Road Congress, nobody knows that something of this sort exists, that there are guidelines. So the
it's.
amount of
I mean,
value which
even if
gets
they know it is
created is
limited to the
huge.
road, even if they know it is limited to the road का design कि अच्छा 3 मीटर लेन होना चाहिए, ये होना चाहिए. Nobody knows footpath कितना होना चाहिए, utility कहाँ पे होना चाहिए, उसका width कितना होना चाहिए for this land use and all. BMC officials themselves don't know about the IRC guidelines. Lately, they have been starting to know a little bit about it. I mean, podcasts is one another thing. Like I would like to record one podcast every week at least, if not more. I have two people who I'm thinking of recording a podcast with right now, but again, that will take up another 3 or 4 hours this week itself. So let's see how it goes. As an advocacy group, over the long run, we need to be much more sustainable. We need to be, from financial perspective, we need to be more sharp in our in the way we approach all of these things, and we need to be methodical, and it should be a machine in the way we are operating. Leverage दिखना चाहिए whenever we are going to the BMC or meeting the government to propose changes. It has to be scaled up, and I think the community has to come together. Think of us like a crowdfund project that you guys are doing. Think of Walking Project like a Gargoti home based kind of advocacy group, which is actually working for our city, for its pedestrians and for its pedestrians. And car people should also actually be funding us, because the way our streets are designed, it's not even safe. It could be so much less anxiety inducing if our streets were designed in a much better manner. So that those are all the things Walking Project can do. We have a bunch of ideas. We are not short of any idea. What we are short of right now is funding, resources, and manpower. That's the whole thing, and I'm really glad we did this
That's
kind of a
exciting.
conversation, aired our grievances with the people, and
I
made
think
an
it was
appeal.
important to do it. Yeah, we
Yeah,
made an appeal, and we didn't know how it will land, but we just being honest in our thoughts, and hopefully it will uh,
yeah.
kind of.
I'm not really hopeful that a lot of people watch this, because we can see the stats. Watch time वगैरह सब पता चलता है कितना होता है. But there is still hope.
Yeah,
उम्मीद पे दुनिया कायम है, as my sixth grade classmate used to say.
Chalo, great. Should we sign
Okay.
off? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.